Hello and welcome to the show and Happy New Year to all of you. For the first of a couple of special videos today, I've decided to do a Q&A. It's actually been quite a while since I last did one of these. I think the 100,000, when I hit 100,000 subscribers, I did one. I think that was the last one. I kind of did a bit of one when I got the RX-8. That was mostly about the RX-8 itself. But I think, yeah, it's been quite a long time. So, figured I would record another one. I did say, when I did the driving vloggy thing with the Maz, I did say that I might do more of these while driving around and so on. That may well still happen in the future. However, I knew that today's one was likely to be a little bit on the longer side. And, well, driving around for 30, 40 minutes, filming stuff, and then probably, you know, getting home again, depending on where I ended up going to. You know, an hour of driving around in a circle in an RX-8 gets very expensive. They're not the best in terms of fuel economy. So, yeah, I figured for this one, I'm gonna stay home. Also, it's yeah, me being a little bit half asleep at the moment. So, yeah, we're staying at home for this one. As far as what's going on the screen at the moment, I'm not actually sure. I'm kind of recording this currently, not doing anything. It's actually a very weird way for me to record. I think it's probably going to be Planet Coaster. At the moment, I'm massively addicted to Planet Coaster and messing around on there. So if I'm going to have to spend some time playing a game to get some background footage, the chances are it's probably going to be that. So you can see me fumbling around, probably breaking stuff, maybe not building bits very well. Who knows? Who knows what we'll be going? Maybe it'll be amazing. Maybe it'll be the best park you've ever seen. I think it unlikely. However, yeah, that's probably what's going on. Chances are, though, you're watching this, you're not, or you're more listening to this rather than watching this for the actual game footage itself. So, yeah, let's get started with some other questions. So, just before Christmas, I asked people to submit questions to me on Twitter. I got a whole bunch of interesting ones. Hopefully, I'm going for some ones that I haven't quite covered before. So, yeah, it should be different. I get asked a lot of the same questions over and over again. So, I've gone for different ones, and yeah, hopefully it'll be interesting enough for all of you. The first big question, this is probably the most asked question of all, was, am I going to do a house tour or an office tour and a video with the kitten in? Because in the last month or so, I have become an adult. Scary, I know, but I've actually got a house now. I'm a proper homeowner with a mortgage and everything, and yeah, we moved in at the start of, at the very, very end of November. Everything has been completely and utterly manic, but we are here now, and yeah, people will see me do a tour around it. It will be an office tour at some point, not just yet though. The reason behind it is my office is currently at a rather temporary state, and to be fair, I think I did an office tour quite a while ago, in fact a long time ago. I did an office tour when I was still living with my parents, and then when I moved out, when I moved in with my girlfriend a year or so ago to a flat. I kind of had a desk at the end of the living room, just about everything fitted in. But that was very, very much temporary setup, so you know, there's no real point filming that. Now I do actually have a complete room to myself for all of my gaming and recording, etc. However, anyone who's ever moved home will know, or certainly if you've moved home recently, will know that cardboard boxes are the bane of your life for a good few months, and currently there are a bunch of them thrown in the back of my room. Everything is still, yeah, kind of a bit of a mess, really, around here. So when I do get everything set up properly and how I want it, then there will be an office tour. Kitten, I have no doubt, will turn up in that. I have actually got a few ideas of videos that I might do with the kitten, who is currently sat fast asleep on the chair beside me, kind of hanging off the chair beside me. Yeah, I know now he's slightly woken up. He doesn't really care if he sits around here. To be fair, there's a few videos where he's decided he's going to sort of sleep on me while I'm recording. He's generally okay with it. So, yeah, I do have no doubt that I'm going to get pounced on at some point during this recording. Provided he's playing nicely and isn't grabbing me with claws, then that's okay. Yeah, I have got a couple of ideas for stuff I'm going to possibly film with the kitten. It's just, yeah, getting around to do it. And again, house is an utter state at the moment, so yeah, things will happen with that. And I keep saying it. I do hope to do. To be fair, last year I did about the most real life videos I think I've ever done. So I'm hoping there will be more of them and more of general silliness. Back to the original topic, I've got completely sidetracked. This is going to happen a lot. Okay, this is just the way my train of thought works. It kind of gets derailed and goes about 5 stations down before we eventually circle back round. That's how trains work, yeah. To where we were initially. Office. Yeah, everything is currently at a temporary state. I am also, and this might take a little while to come to fruition, but I am also planning on getting a proper sort of sim racing rig, proper 3-screen setup, and yeah, I've got the space. I've got the perfect space in my office where I'm going to put it, and I think I know what I want to be doing in terms of setting it all up. However, yeah, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I can be setting that up within the coming weeks, and that'll be really rather cool. I mean, let's face it, anyone who's into their racing games always wants one, and now I've actually got space and can get a lovely. It's not going to be one of the ones. I did have a brief look at some of those with like the hydraulic actuators that they sit on and they move around. I would absolutely love to get one of them, but they are horrendously expensive. I had a feeling, I want to say 14,000 euros was one that I saw, was one of the cheaper ones that I saw. I might be wrong, it might have been 4,000 euros, but either way, it is way too much money, and they're the basic ones as well. They're not the top one. There are some incredible ones around, but yeah, most of them probably not commercially available, and those that are just ridiculously expensive, and I can't afford that. If I could afford that, I wouldn't be getting a sim rig, I'd be getting a nice car. So yeah, it won't be one of those, but yeah, I do hope to be setting that up. Probably, I say it won't make a huge difference in terms of videos. It will make it easier for me in terms of recording sim games, recording anything that involves a steering wheel. I'm also planning on getting a new steering wheel. I'm hoping to get the new Fanatic. There's a new kind of entry-level Fanatic that's not going to cost... Kitten, do not go jump on the laptop and turn off recording. I can see you over there. Yes, I can see you curiously wondering what's going on. Behave yourself. Oh, no, now you found the microphone boom. You've woken up! You were supposed to be asleep and you were supposed to be calm, and now you are curious about everything. Yep, that's kind of how it works, having a cat. Again, I've got distracted. Yeah, steering wheel. Looking at getting a new Fanatic wheel, the entry level one that's not over £1,000, and I believe that works with Xbox One as well. So we may well be seeing more of the steering wheel, using a steering wheel. I'm not going to end up doing wheel cams and so on. They're pointless. Having a wheel camera, I think, is utterly pointless. Or I'm unlikely to. I'll probably, for the first couple of times showing off the rig, I might have kind of over-the-shoulder cameras and that sort of stuff. But wheel cameras I find are completely pointless because, well, there's all of the camera angles that I'm going to use when I'm driving are going to be in cockpit view. And there's a steering wheel on the screen. You know, that's doing exact movements that I'm doing. If it's not, then I've buggered something up with setting up my car. And yes, I have done that before. However, yeah, that's you know, I don't see the point. Yeah, when I am showing off the rig, there probably will be over-the-shoulder camera or something along those lines. I haven't decided. Again, it's all going to come down to when I get the thing in and set it up, and I'll figure out what I can do with it. However, yeah, that's kind of a big plan I have. In terms of sort of my office space, as I said, actual video content-wise, it will make it easier. I want to keep moving the steering wheel around back and forth, and I'll be able to hopefully play with the wheel on a wider variety of games. So that I am very much looking forward to having a go with. God knows how long it's going to take to set up, but yeah, that could be pretty cool. On to the next question. I've seen there's kind of various phrasings of this. The first one, or the first kind of part of it, is have I been to uni? The answer is no, I haven't. Now, Americans are going to get confused by this. I've been to college. In England, college isn't uni. University is a separate. I know, yeah, in America you'll call your universities colleges and so on. I don't know what you have. If you don't go to college in America, but you go to somewhere else to do stuff. I don't know what you call the other thing, so I apologize. And if other countries have different names, yeah, we should end up everybody getting confused. I haven't been to a university though. I did go to. I did I did A-levels. Again, if you're not from England, you're not going to understand what the bloody hell I'm talking about. It makes it very, very difficult. I did A-levels at secondary school. I then went to college and I did... What did I do? I did a maths and physics A-level. My initial plan was to go to university to do, like, motorsport engineering. That was the plan, and to get into most of them, you had to do physics and maths at A-level, which was far too difficult for me. It makes your brain hurt, and I just couldn't. I wasn't clever enough to do that. So yeah, I ended up dropping out of them. I did history and geography at A-level. Did relatively well in them ones, and then I went to college and then did motorsport mechanics. The plan was to do the motorsport mechanics course at college and then go up to uni, because if you did the motorsport course at the college, you would then have enough points to go to the university to sort of carry on with that. That was the plan. However, I kind of realised halfway through, or probably three-quarters of the way through the course, that while, you know, learning about cars and learning about mechanics and stuff, I actually absolutely loved learning about all of it. It wasn't really the career that I wanted to be doing. At which point, yeah, I quit the course. I left the course with a few months to go. I wasn't particularly happy, and ended up I kind of started doing YouTube halfway through my time. I don't know, it was a little bit before, actually. Before I started college, I sort of vaguely started YouTube. It was sort of halfway through, sort of at the end of the first year of college, where I actually started, really focusing on the YouTube, and things were starting to go well. And when I quit the course, I just kind of started doing YouTube full time, even though I was a relatively small channel back then. I started doing YouTube full time. That's probably getting on 3-4 years ago now. I can't even remember. To be honest, in this kind of time just all melds together, and you don't really, I only know what day of the week it is because I roughly know what schedule and what videos I should be putting out. As far as weeks and months go, it's kind of all meaningless to me at the moment. So, yeah, when I quit college, I kind of just focused on YouTube, and my parents were, very supportive in helping me, weren't charging me rent for living at home and so on, while I tried to build up this channel and actually turn it into a job. It is a weird thing to think of. However, that is essentially what it is. It takes up silly amounts. I work way too many hours for all of it, but it turned out good in the end. Quite a few people have asked me what would I be doing if I wasn't doing YouTube. Truth is, I don't actually know. This was kind of a backup plan that somehow actually worked out. That is the genuine truth on that one. This was a last resort. I wasn't happy with where things were going, and I was starting this kind of idea was starting to actually become a little bit popular, and I thought if I kind of throw myself at it and dedicate enough time, it might actually work out, and it did. A lot of luck is involved. I'd like to say some skill from me, but yeah, a fair bit of luck. I genuinely don't know what I would have done had this not have taken off to the point where it is, it is now a job, a way of making a living, a way of getting by. I did for a while, quite a long time ago, do a lot of voluntary work at a bird of prey centre. I've briefly talked about it before. I love working with animals. I love working with bird of prey. They're fantastic animals to train and work with. In general, I do like working with animals. It is possible I would have gone down that route. Possible I would have tried to find something along those lines. Again, a lot of them require qualifications. I definitely wouldn't want to sort of go down the veterinary line. That's not my thing. I wouldn't want the responsibility of doing that personally. I'm very, very glad there are people out there that do, but I wouldn't want to be going down that line. But working something with animals, maybe even sort of like conservation with certainly big cats are my favourite type of animal, or as I said, birds of prey. Along those lines, I might have gone down, try to get some qualifications, whether it be college or uni. That would probably have been one way that things would have gone. Either that or something to do with gaming, whether it be sort of journalism, but that's a very, very difficult place to get started with. There's so much out there. It's incredibly tough place to get started with. Or whether it were more down the kind of technical line. I did look for a little while at uni courses for kind of game designing and so on. Truth is, I'm not the most I'm not the best when it comes to computers. I can do the basics. I can get stuff running okay. I've sort of dabbled. When I say I've dabbled with mods for games, it's kind of getting stuff to work in GTA 5, which is often just copy and pasting lines and fiddling about with little bits. Yeah, I can adjust handling files for cars and all of that kind of thing, but it's fairly basic stuff. So again, it would be uni or college or something to learn some coding stuff. Probably would have been very interesting. However, yeah, in the end, that's not where things went. And yeah, I managed to luck into I guess, again, I say career, I use that term very loosely, that I like, and hopefully we can keep it going. Hopefully we'll continue to grow. Certainly now that I've got a bloody house, so we need it to stay going. My YouTube crashes any more than it does at the moment, then I'm gonna probably be in a bit of bother. But yeah, let's not think about that. I think that's basically every YouTuber out there. That's their main fear. They will abandon ship to Twitch at some point. Hopefully not. I don't really like streaming. I enjoy streaming from time to time. I just prefer doing recorded videos. That's just my preferred format. Personally, other streams, I'm probably going to end up, speaking of streams, I've got off topic completely from my list of questions I was supposed to go through. However, now we're here, we'll carry on. Regarding streams, I'm probably going to get back into them. I'm mostly going to end up streaming classic games, I think, certainly for a little while. The reason being is that I like doing sort of Let's Plays on some of the older games, but you never really get through a huge amount in one video. It's not worthwhile doing a series on, because after the first couple of videos, the number of views tends to drop dramatically. But live streams are quite a good way to play through, and you can play for a lot longer. You can play for a couple of hours, and people can drop in and out as and when they please, and so on. And yeah, you can kind of cover more of them, and you can get through them. Like the Enthusia stuff, I love playing Enthusia on streams. It's literally the perfect game, really, for live streaming in many ways, with the way you unlock cars and the way it throws cars and different vehicles at you. So I'm probably going to go back to that. I've got a whole list of games. I can see them all from here. A raft of games, classic games that I may well end up streaming. The likes of Driven to Destruction. I'll probably go through some of that. I've got F1 Career Challenge, an old Formula 1 game. What else have we got over there that I might end up doing some streaming on? I don't know, actually. There's a whole might go back to Midnight Club 3, actually. Play through that in streams. It probably would be on YouTube more than Twitch, just because it automatically uploads itself once it's done, and it's easy to keep everything on one platform. Although, yeah, if YouTube faffs around, I may end up doing streams on Twitch and diversify a little bit. But don't worry, I'm not going to go down the lines of just doing live streams. Absolutely nothing wrong with just doing live streams. However, my preferred way of creating content is through sort of recorded videos and then editing them around and doing with them what I want. It's just kind of the way that I've got used to working and so on. Right, that's got completely and utterly off topic. However, back to the next question, going away from the whole YouTubing and gaming stuff ever so slightly. Sort of people ask me about my favourite movies of all time. What was my favourite movie of 2016? Favourite movie of all time? Actually, I have two that I couldn't possibly pick between. I think, again, I feel like I've talked about this before. I'm not actually sure, though, so I'm going to cover it anyway. The favourite movie of all time is between Death Race and Gladiator. I know they are two vastly different films, however, I couldn't possibly pick between them. I love Death Race. It is just the perfect, silly film to watch. Yes, it's not particularly clever, but I really don't care. There's cars with incredibly large guns. There's a stupid truck thing that destroys everything until it gets taken out by two cars. It is a great film. If you haven't seen, I'm talking about the modern Death Race, not Death Race 2000. I've not actually seen Death Race 2000. That was quite the old film. The Death Race 2 and 3 are also okay, but none of them are quite as good as the Death Race with Jason Statham in it. It's an incredible film. And Gladiator is I like kind of my old sort of, I say, the classic war stuff, like Romans and Spartans and that kind of era of war. I kind of quite fascinating. I know that's a little bit, I don't know if it's weird to say, but yeah, kind of all like the old military tactics and the old battles and so on, especially when you had such ridiculous numbers of people fighting in them and so on. There's a certain spectacle about it. So I do like the old sort of, like the 300 and that kind of film. And Gladiator is just an incredible. The chances are you're all going to have seen it. It's got a bit of everything really. You've got gladiatorial combat. You've got the chariots messing around at one point. It's a very, very long film. It takes a while to get going, but yeah, I think it's an absolutely fantastic film. As far as favourite movie of 2016 goes, there have been a lot. There have been a lot of really good films. In England, I don't know if they have similar chains in America. In England, there's a cinema chain called Cineworld. It might be in America, I don't know, you might have heard of it. That has, many, many cinemas across the country. I have a Cineworld Unlimited card. What that means is, for about £17 a month, I can go to as many films as I like. I don't have to pay to get. You just show the card when you book tickets and so on, and you can get into everything for free. Considering it's like, is it about £8 a ticket now for a film? You go to 2 films a month and it's already paid for itself. I tend to go to a hell of a lot more. So I've seen all sorts of films this year. It's if you go to cinema a lot and you haven't heard about it, you really, really should think about getting it. It's incredible value. Probably my favourite film this year would be Star Wars Rogue One. There's, as I said, there's a lot of good films that come out, but I think Rogue One might be my favourite of all. I don't want to say too much in case you haven't gone to seen it yet, because it's an incredible film. I'd be surprised if people who want to see it haven't seen it yet, let's be honest. However, if you haven't, I'm not going to say too much about it, but it is an excellent film. It's a little bit different. I say it's a little bit different to the previous Star Wars films. It still feels very, very much, very well done, very well set in the universe and so on, but I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to ruin stuff. But yeah, it's a little bit different while still feeling Star Wars-y. That's probably the best way I can put it. Also, the robot is absolutely fantastic. Is it K2? I think is his name. He's by far the best character in the film. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Go watch it if you haven't seen it already. Right. Shall we move on next to music? A couple of people asked me about some music to listen to. Again, I feel like I might cover this before, but I waffle a lot and I can never remember. So I'll go over this one briefly. I've kind of got to the stage now where, certainly if I go out anywhere, I'll just stick the radio on and don't really care a huge amount. I used to faff about with, set up your iPod and make sure you have your music on and whatever, because the MX-5 never had a aux slot on the radio. I used to sort of make up a CD every so often. I did have a CD player. That's about as far as that got. Make up a CD every so often, change out songs and put that in there. I've kind of got to the point now where I just don't really give a crap and will just stick on a random radio station and tend to just listen to whatever. If I have a choice when it comes to music, I tend to listen to I guess kind of heavy metal, that sort of area. Favourite bands, it kind of changes depending on who's doing what. Favourite bands tend to be Sonic Syndicate, The Unguided sometimes. Again, very much depends on what song of theirs. Dead by April, quite like Breaking Benjamin. They're kind of more rock than metal. I don't really pay a huge amount of attention to genres. It's just, it's always funny when you look at like music videos with the arguments going on in the comment section over what songs, what genre. Now that's very. If you want to lose some brain cells, go and have a look at some of that. Yeah, that tends to be if I'm actually actively looking for something on YouTube to listen to. To be honest, I tend not to listen to a huge amount of music these days. If I'm sat up here editing and so on, and I'm not voice recording, I'll end up sticking on YouTube or Netflix or something. The joys of having the Xbox One with, I guess, for a PlayStation 4, it'll do the same thing. Having all this big entertainment system sat next to you is, I have YouTube. I can go and watch videos. I have Netflix. I have Amazon Prime. And there's so many hours of stuff on there that I can tend to just have that going rather than not that I will listen to music when I have the opportunity, but take a little bit of a back seat at the moment. That's just kind of the way that it goes. Right, next question. I quite like this question. I actually had a long think about this. Someone asked, if we're going to Formula 1 now, if I had a Formula 1 team and I had a pick of all of the drivers, I'm going to go with all of the current drivers in Formula 1 rather than all drivers all time, because that would take a lot longer to go through. If I had a F1 team, could have a pick of all of the current drivers, who would my 2 drivers for the team be? And this was a really, really hard decision, actually. If it was going on my favourite drivers, I would have Raikkonen, because Raikkonen is fantastic, and I would probably have Button as well, alongside it. It would probably be a relatively quick team. Also, both are, Button's kind of ish retired. Raikkonen will probably retire at the end of next year, so maybe not the long-lived team, but it would be a fantastic team. Would give the most excellent of interviews. Between Raikkonen not saying anything and Button being generally amusing, I think it would be perfect. However, that would just be because they would be my favourite 2 drivers. If it was going for ultimate team, as in the fastest team, then it gets a little bit trickier. you'd have to have Verstappen. While I can't say I'm a massive fan of him, I say personally, I don't know. He doesn't seem to come across as entertaining, shall we say, as Button or sometimes Raikkonen and so on. However, I have no doubt he is the best driver in the field. He's going to have a huge accident. There is going to come a time where he is going to have an absolutely massive accident from doing something stupid. However, he is also, I think, the best of the lot of them. Some of the overtakes that he's been doing, admittedly, might be against, slower cars, but certainly when he was at Brazil coming back through the field, he got so much further than Ricciardo did and so on. He's just, I can't decide whether it's bravery or perhaps not even knowing what the limits are the same way that some of the other drivers do, and that means that he pulls off something just truly incredible overtakes. You couldn't leave Verstappen out. He probably is. If he isn't already the best driver on the field, I have no doubt he will be in a very, very short space of time. The second driver, though, is the tougher one. Who would you have alongside him? And after a lot of thought, I would probably have Ricciardo. I think Red Bull have probably got the strongest driver lineup of all of them. I would put Ricciardo ahead of Hamilton and ahead of Vettel. Maybe Alonso. Toss up between Ricciardo and Alonso. I'm not sure. Alonso from a couple of years ago, I probably would say was better than Ricciardo. Alonso now perhaps not quite as sharp and so on. But admittedly, it's very, very hard to judge when the McLaren is quite... I say quite awful. It's got better this year. It's still not very good, but it has got better. It's actually scoring points now. Yeah, I think I probably would have Ricciardo alongside Verstappen. If Red Bull get their act together with their next car, I think that is going to be an absolutely formidable driver lineup. Because yeah, I think they are probably two of the. I say two of the best. I think they're probably the two best drivers. It's. Yeah, it's very hard to say when everyone's all in very, very different machinery and so on. I look forward to the next season. That much is for sure. When everything is going to be reshuffled, who knows what's going to end up being quick. Also, Bottas in a Mercedes. I don't know if it's been confirmed yet. If it's not confirmed, it's looking very likely. And Bottas in a Mercedes would be very interesting. I think he's going to give Hamilton plenty of problems, which I look forward to seeing. So yeah, I'd say Red Bull have got a pretty much perfect driver lineup. We'll move on to gaming stuff next. Yes, I have vaguely got this stuff organised into categories. The first category was random crap. Now we're going to go to a little bit more structured. Gaming stuff, yes. Again, I've seen this question a fair few times. I have talked about it before, but I'll go over it again if people are still asking. Obviously, they haven't heard it. What is my favourite non-racing game? Of course, I play an awful lot of racing games on this channel. Occasionally dip into non-racing games. Very, very rarely for a special occasion. But, yeah, when I'm not recording stuff, I do play a fair amount of other games. I generally play all sorts of games. I've played many, many, many different genres of games. Of everything, my favourite non-racing game probably wouldn't even be that difficult to come up with, and that is Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2 is absolutely incredible. If you haven't played Borderlands 2, the first one and all of the ones that came after it, not quite sequels, kind of branched off into weird and wonderful stories. The whole Borderlands series is incredible. It is perhaps one of the most entertaining games to play just from a script point of view. It's incredibly funny. They're really, really well written, and there are millions and I can't remember. There is a. I have actually got a box copy of it somewhere, and on the back it makes up all sorts of different terms for how many billions of guns there are, and all sorts of guns to play around with. Yeah, it's a phenomenal game. That would be the top. There are many series that I like a lot. The Tomb Raider series, one of my favourite gaming series as well. One of the games that sort of got me into gaming when I was young. I went back and played. I think it was for 100,000 subscribers special. I went back and played the first Tomb Raider. Again, very clunky controls is what I remember from it. Yeah, I love the Tomb Raider series. I actually like the modern Tomb Raiders as well. They've actually figured out the bad bit about the old Tomb Raiders was the combat. The combat was awful. They've actually got the combat working. Not quite as good on the adventuring side, no, but they've got the combat working at least. So yeah, I like the new Tomb Raiders. I actually am quite a big fan of strategy games. I played an awful lot of Age of Empires 3. That was my first sort of big online gaming. Was playing Age of Empires 3. That was an awful lot of fun. Also, like the Civilization series, played a lot of Civ 5, played a fair bit of Civ 6 as well. They're good fun. Long games, them ones. to play. You can easily lose a day playing Civ 6, but yeah, do very, very much enjoy playing them. And kind of along the same lines, a few people have asked about, would I branch out into playing non-racing games? I've even seen a few people sort of ask if I would make it a second channel to kind of cover non-racing games. And this is something I have thought about. I have ummed and ahed about the pros and cons. And the real issue with doing it, I don't quite see the point in creating a second channel, I'm going to be honest. At the current stage in which I'm a decent-sized channel, but it's not really worthy of making a second channel. And if I was making that, to play, let's say Civ 6, or even Planet Coaster. I forgot to mention Planet Coaster. Bloody hell, probably what's going on at the moment. Yeah, Planet Coaster, another one that I absolutely adore. If I did make another channel and cover that sort of games, it's whether it would just kind of waste my time, or it probably wouldn't get, I don't know how many people who are watching, probably the people who are watching this are the people that will go and subscribe to the second channel, and the people that aren't watching this are the people who don't really care about that sort of stuff and just are here for the racing. So it might be a little bit biased talking about this in here, but yeah, it's whether you get enough kind of views to make that channel worthwhile, and I don't think I would at the moment. I don't think it's a worthwhile thing. If I'm going to make a video on another random game, whatever it might be, I might as well put it up on the main channel, or on this channel here. It makes sense to put it up there because you're going to get, the most audience. But then when I do that, the odd occasional thing, they tend not to get a huge amount of views because they're not what I tend to be doing. And then is it wasting my time where I could be working on something else? At the end of the day, I do videos on games that I enjoy playing, and while I don't want to just make videos just to get views, I can't stand just making a video because I can make this a horrendous clickbait title. I can just get views, and I don't really care what I'm doing with it. I want to play games that I like. I want to do challenges and so on that I like. However, there's got to come a point where you say this isn't getting the views. It's not worth carrying on, and that's happened with a fair few series. That I try. I see how they go, and if after 2 or 3 episodes they're just not getting the views, I've got to move on from it. It's stuff that I might come back. Motorsport Manager and Planet Coaster are great examples. I love Motorsport Manager. It's again, it's another really, really good game, and I did a few videos on it, but it just doesn't get the videos. Just don't get the views. I don't know whether it's sort of a bit of a too technical one. It's a bit long. I don't really want to split races and stuff in half because then you end up with kind of 2 parts, and the first part won't have a particularly satisfying ending because it will mostly be set up. You could kind of cut it around, but then people are going to miss out on perhaps some of the detail. And so I don't know whether it was just a too long of a video because they're about 40 minutes each-ish, or what. But yeah, it just doesn't get the views. Planet Coaster, similar. I don't know whether it's just sort of too much faffing around, or again whether it's just sort of too long or stuff. Either way, both of those. Admittedly, I know Motorsport Manager is a racing game, but you kind of get the idea. When doing non-racing stuff, it's whether it's kind of worth my time messing around with them when they just simply don't get the views. And if they're not getting the views, I'm not going to be earning as much money. And again, I don't want to, you'd think that it's literally just for the money, but I do need money to pay mortgage and car insurance and petrol, mostly petrol, let's be honest here. So, yeah, you got to kind of balance it. I will probably dip into non-racing games when something comes out, or when I can make something turn into a racing game. I believe Sparrow Racing is coming back to Destiny at some point for everybody to mess around with. I might well do something on that. Yeah, when there's sort of bits and pieces like that, or I can build cars or do something vaguely racing or car related and other stuff, I may do, or something really bloody good that's not a racing game. I might have a go at it and so on. Yeah, I'm gonna try and stick where the views are and stick at what I do best. On the subject of racing, I had a few people ask me about sort of doing serious racing, whether it be on Forza 6 or on other simulators, or serious racing or league racing. I know the Forza have had their big old racing league championship tournament thing. Can't remember what it's called, but that thing. If I'm going to be doing them or why I don't take part in them. The truth is, I have done in the past. I like iRacing. I've done a fair bit of iRacing. I did quite a while ago do some R Factor stuff. The problem is, while I'm a fairly good driver, I would like to think I'm certainly nowhere near the fastest. And if I was to take part in, organised races, whether it be leagues or whatever, if you want to, be running towards the front, which me being competitive will want to be doing relatively well, you've got to spend a lot of time practicing. Whether it be learning cars, learning tracks, learning setups, and so on, you've got to spend a lot of time, practicing to get fast enough to compete with the really best of the best. And quite frankly, when I've stopped recording and stopped, working on making videos, I don't then want to go and hot lap a car for a couple of hours. I'm going to spend my time doing something different, quite frankly. It's not that I get bored of racing games easier now, it's that when I have free time, I tend to go off and do something other than racing. Not always. I'll find myself playing Burnout Paradise now, where every so often. But, when I do have free time, I just don't want to spend that time hot lapping a car. I'd rather be going and doing something else. Or, just generally practicing enough to get fast enough to a level where I'd be happy competing. That's why that's why I just spend my time doing other things, basically. May end up doing sort of the odd series that goes on. A fair few series run around our forum from time to time. I may end up taking part in some of them. Also, often a lot of stuff happens on weekends or happens on evenings when I'm doing something else. We have filming sessions going on Tuesday. Tuesday evenings are often the days that we'll end up filming Forza challenges. Thursdays, we film versus the community, and then GTA challenges after that. Saturday and Sunday, I'm often not around on. So there's only a few days a week where I'm actually home, let alone in the mood to go do some racing. So other commitments and just wanting to do something other than racing for a couple of hours tend to mean that I don't run in that many serious racing. I might from time to time, but that's about it. Another question, quite an interesting one actually, that asked me, what is the best fictional car? I'm assuming we're talking about video games cars here rather than just overall. Best fictional video game car, I think, has got to be Finn. Those of you that remember Finn, well done. He's got to be up at the very top. If we're not counting Finn, then I had a bit of a long think about this one as well. There are many cool fictional vehicles. The Warthog from Halo. I love the Warthog. It's a fantastically silly, bouncy, rolly, tumbly car. That's generally good news for me. They are great fun actually to drive. The Ghosts also from Halo. I've always been a fan of the way the Ghosts drive. They're a lot of fun. But as far as my favourite of the lot would be the Carbon Ubershell from Burnout. It is essentially an LMP car that, because it's a special edition, the normal Ubershell would be a speed car, it's a race car, but the Carbon Edition always changes up how they work. It's one of I can't remember what you win it from. I think I did a video on it a long time ago. I think that's actually the car I used for the video when I tried to get 100 million points in a stunt run. God, I hope my memory is good enough for all of that. But it basically turns it into a stunt car. So a stunting LMP car. It's a crazy, silly contraption that I absolutely adore. Also, my other favourite fictional car would come from Burnout Paradise. And, well, I say favourite, it would kind of be a category of cars. That would be the toy cars from Burnout Paradise. As a whole, they are excellent. The toy DeLorean, was it 88 Special, I think is the name of it, or 89 Special, I can't remember, something like that. The toy DeLorean is another one that would be right at the very top there. Burnout, and I did actually see a couple of people commented it on the recent video I did of Paradise. Burnout got toy cars handling right. They got toy cars to handle like you would imagine a toy car to in that universe. They did it really, really well. And they would be up there with the Carbon Ubershell as well. The final question from the racing category, I'm actually not going to answer today. That was what would be, if I could remaster any racing game to sort of modern spec, what would it be? I'm not answering that. The reason why is a fantastic question. However, the reason why today's second video that is going up will answer that question for you. So I'm not going to spoil it. Today's second video actually is another one that I spent God knows how many hours just sort of thinking about trying to plan that one out. It will all become clear when it comes out this evening. Maybe it'll be out now, depending on what time and what order you're watching these in. Who knows? But yes, that question will be answered in today's second video. It was a very, very good question, though. The final kind of section I'm going to go on to with this. I've already been rambling for quite a while. Talk about my real life car. There were loads and loads of questions about this one, often kind of around similar themes. So, yeah, I'm going to start off with the RX-8. If you asked me sort of about reliability, what it's been like owning one now that I've had it for 8 or 9 months, it did break down on me. Thankfully, I didn't blow an apex seal, which is always good. Did have some issues. Where I've moved to, I'm very much out in the countryside now. It is quite a long way. Well, I say quite a long way from civilization. Actually, a fairly sizable village. You get decent internet out here as well. Most important thing to take into consideration when moving. But it is quite out in the sticks. And on the very first week we were here, the first kind of weekend where it was really properly cold, between me and my girlfriend, our cars broke down 3 times in 2 days. My car got a flat, like complete and utter flat, as in I think the valve had gone. And I'm thinking the cold might have had something to do, like one really cold night might have caused some issues, because yeah, my car had a complete flat. The day before it was absolutely fine, and next day I woke up and couldn't put any air into it. So yeah, my car had a flat tyre and was unmovable. My girlfriend's car, she has a 206, not a particularly exciting car at the moment. She's hoping to get a more interesting car soon, but yeah, has a 206 at the moment. Her car, we were driving back from somewhere, because I couldn't go anywhere, so we had to take her car, and we were driving back from somewhere, and it was about 10:30 at night, and the earth wire, I think earth strap is what it was called, snapped while we were going down a road. We just come off a roundabout, and it let go, and then all the electronics had a brake, and the car stopped working, and we meant to pull over to the side of the road. Well, I say pull over, kind of coast our way to the side of the road, and yeah, that wasn't fun. That was a very cold evening, that one, with a broken down 206. Made matters worse, we were actually stuck on the side of the road with no lights, because the hazard didn't work, because none of the electrics work in the car, on a completely unlit road with a black Peugeot. So that was a little bit scary. We had our phones out, kind of with like flashlights on the back of our phone to try and warn people that we were broken down. Thankfully, the police. We had to call the police to get them to kind of bring some, or to tell them that there was a stricken car. They came and helped us get it off the road, and well, flashy lights from police car did kind of warn people. So yeah, that got broken down. I got stuck at the side of the road. Couldn't get it going again. I initially didn't know what on earth it was that had gone in it. So we had to get picked up and take home. I had to abandon that for a day. So the next day, went back, towed the Peugeot to a garage, got it fixed, got that working, got that one back. That was fine. And I did a very dumb thing with the Mazda that ended up in it being flooded. So, while all of the nonsense was going on with the Peugeot, had one of these sort of tyre fitting services come round and fitted up tyres on my car in the morning of the next day. So that got itself all sorted. We got the Peugeot then sorted, got the Peugeot back, and I had to move my car to get because the way we had the drive going on at the time, I had to shunt my Mazda out of the way, and forgetting that, it was an RX-8 that was prone to flooding, just kind of shunted it around, and having only had it turned on for like a minute and a bit, it flooded, basically. It's a stupid thing to do, and I realised when I turned the car off probably what I'd done, and then when I went to start it the next day, it didn't go. So, yeah, what didn't help was when I went to go turn it on, bloody cold. Again, the next, or whichever day it was, I forget, but yeah, it was horrendously cold. So that flooded. When I had to then go send the Mazda off, because I couldn't drive it. We had to have a recovery thing. Apex Rotaries are the people that fixed up my car. A big thank you to them. They did a fantastic job. And they came down. They had to pick up the car, take it back to the garage that was in Guildford, which is some 200-ish miles away, a long way. There's nowhere close by specialises in rotaries, sadly. So yeah, they fixed that up. Not only was it flooded, it also needed a new coil, needed new spark plugs, needed a new starter motor. Kind of put all of that together, and that would also have helped it get flooded in the first place. So yeah, my stupid fault on that one for flooding it. Other than that, it has been pretty reliable. Has been a pretty reliable car. It hasn't really given me a huge amount of grief, other than going through an awful lot of petrol. Oil actually isn't as bad as people make it out to be. Whereas, yeah, it goes through a little bit, but petrol is going to be the far bigger concern. If you're worried about miles a gallon, or if you have a car to do, like a 30-40 mile commute every day. RX-8 probably, or it'll do it, but it'll just be expensive. Thankfully, working from home, I don't have to worry about it, and whenever I go driving, I can tend to have some fun. So that's why I have an RX-8. Yeah, kind of reliability-wise, actually been, yeah, on the most part, pretty good. But yeah, me being a bit silly with it did cause it some troubles. On the, the subject of actual cars, a lot of people have been wondering about what I plan to get as a next vehicle. I don't want to sell the RX-8. I'm actually really like the RX-8. So I plan on adding cars rather than replacing the Mazda. I am looking at, again, because I live out in the countryside and a little bit in the middle of nowhere, and half the roads around here don't get gritted, and the last 2 days we've woken up to almost solid ice down the road, down the little cul-de-sac that I live down. I'm looking at, hopefully, again, might be a few months, probably by the time it gets to it, it's going to be summer, but for whenever next winter comes, I want to get sort of an all-wheel drive estate car. But being me, I don't want to get a boring one. Kind of looking at there are also the various turbos and twin-turbo Subaru Legacies. There's also a 3-litre flat 6 Legacy, a little bit more of a modern one. Kind of looking at getting something like that. Mitsubishi Legnum is also one of the cars. I'd love a VR4 Legnum. They are quite rare, though, especially finding a... Actually, I don't think... They did do a manual one, but they're really rare. They kind of mostly got semi-automatics. I'd be okay with that one. But yeah, the Legnum or the Legacy. The Nissan Stadia... I don't know if the Nissan Stadia is actually all-wheel drive. I think it is. I did have a look at them, but because they're quite sought after, they tend to go for silly money on the most part anyway. So probably not one of them. If I can't afford or can't find a good, Legacy or Legnum around at the right time, also would be quite tempted by an ST220 Mondeo. Again, I'm looking at getting an estate version of these. Reason being, I don't have a very practical car at all at the moment. My girlfriend's looking at getting a sports car, which won't be practical either. So if we go, you go to IKEA or something, and you want to try and move some furniture, you kind of need something with a bit more space. Estate car seems like the logical way to go, and of course I want a nice sporty one. So... yeah, if I do have to go for front-wheel drive, or if I can't find the all-wheel drive ones that I want, the ST220 Mondeo would probably be the easiest to acquire, probably the cheapest as well, out of all of them. Sort of like the Volvo 850R would be great, but they're quite rare. In fact, they're quite rare and tend to be quite expensive, but I certainly wouldn't turn one down. That's kind of what I'm looking at getting next. I would like to also, again, I'd like to get 3 cars, really. I would like to get a fun... possibly even track car sort of vehicle, MX-5, or probably get an MR2. I've had an MX-5. I do kind of miss the MX-5 at times, and I would quite like to get a fun sort of 2-seat sports car that I would then take on track days. I don't really want to go take the RX-8 around and then cause more expense for that car. So I'd be tempted to get a relatively cheap MX-5 or MR2 or something along those lines that I can then go and mess around with at a racetrack from time to time, because they don't really cost a huge amount of money, and they are excellent fun. So that is my plans for cars at the moment. I would, at some point, like if I do end up going for something other than the RX-8, if I do end up selling it, I am looking at possibly a Nissan 350Z. It looks like the most affordable way to get fairly impressive performance gains. Yeah, that's probably kind of the most likely route that I would go next. I'd love to, be going up to muscle cars. In England, they are so expensive. The most likely way into muscle car territory is actually a Vauxhall Monaro. They're going to set you back £7,000 or £8,000, but that's probably the easiest. Well, £7,000 or £8,000 plus. That's probably the easiest way to get into a big V8 car. As far as like classic American cars go, yeah. Maybe get the odd V8. We saw like sort of 65-ish era Mustangs, maybe £15,000 and upwards. Corvette C3s you can get for just below about 20,000. But yeah, we're talking a lot of money when we're starting going up into that territory. Although that does bring me on to our next question quite nicely. See, I've been planning this one through. Affordable dream cars was something I got asked about quite a lot. I have a few cars that I would very much like to own at some point. 205 GTI is one of them. When I was talking about the MX-5 MR2 for a track car, if I could afford a 205 GTI, that would be kind of perfect, provided I keep it in good condition. I would love to own one of them. I think they are incredible little hot hatches, possibly the best hot hatch that was ever made from what I've heard about one, so I would love to be able to own one and drive one of them. They are shooting up in value though at the moment, so who knows when I will be able to do that. Again, along similar lines, Williams Clio. but again, similar problem, shooting up in value. Very, very similar, sort of incredible fun hot hatch. Lotus Carlton would also be right up there as it's getting towards the top end of affordable. Really, again, they are starting to go up in value. They're very, very rare cars. The Lotus Carlton is, one of my all-time favourite vehicles, just for pure craziness, and they're not sort of £200,000 or £300,000 and upwards expensive yet. I think about £25,000 and upwards, really. And similar thing goes for the Dodge Viper. While you're not going to get ACR Vipers for, I don't know how much ACR Vipers go for these days. Probably older ones, 60, 70,000. They'll probably start going up when they start getting rarer. But sort of more basic level Vipers and earlier Vipers are again around 25,000, 30,000 plus in England. Again, they're probably going to go up. By the time I could afford one, they're probably going to be a lot more. However, the Viper would be on that list as well. And, general Chargers and V8 Mustangs and so on would be nice, but they're... I'm not going to spend 20 grand on a Mustang. Again, this is a hypothetical, assuming I had that money. I'm not going to spend that 20 grand on a Mustang when I could save a bit more for the 25 and get a Carlton, potentially. So, the Carlton would probably be up there as the top of the affordable dream cars list. Hopefully I can get that money quickly, and we can get it before they become absurdly collectible. And finally, as I say, absurdly collectible, they already are, but before they start getting to millions each. Right, we'll move on. Final question. Yes, stop thinking about Carltons, otherwise I'll start going Auto Trader, and then things get dangerous. Very dangerous. Final question. Again, I saw this one asked an awful lot. Have I ever seen or rolled a car in real life? I've never been involved in a car crash, thankfully. Had a few near misses, but personally never rolled a car, and haven't seen one roll either. I have a couple of occasions driven past the aftermath of cars that have rolled. In fact, about a week ago, we were going down the road. On the other side, there was a hatchback of some sort, couldn't see, very much on its roof in a ditch. Didn't see what happened. I don't quite know how it managed to get itself in trouble where it did, but have seen the aftermath of cars upside down. I don't think any of the motorsport events I've been to either have had a rolling accident, or certainly I haven't seen it. I'm just trying to think. It's most recent one would have been Silverstone touring cars this year. Well, technically last year now, with the day this video is going out on. I don't think anything rolled, though. There were the odd bumps and shunts around, but didn't see anything roll. And Goodwood, again, don't think I saw anything roll any time I've been there. So, no, I haven't. I have not. Oh, it actually does bring me on to one final point I almost forgot about. Someone asked if I would ever build a jelly car in real life, and I have seen, again, a while ago, people asking about would I ever roll a car in real life. I would love to. I have no problem doing silly, crazy stuff like that. I would be perfectly happy to go and take a car and try and roll it off a curb, in a similar manner that I would enforce it, make a challenge about it, or find what it would take to get the car to roll in that manner. I would have absolutely no problem in doing that, and likewise, if I had the know-how, or found someone who did have the know-how to turn a car into a, into a proper jelly car, I would be perfectly okay driving it around. However, it is the money and the difficulty in setting something up like that that makes it very, very difficult to do. I know you might be sitting there thinking, well, I'm only saying that because I can't do it. I genuinely have absolutely no issue with going to do these crazy, silly, potentially slightly dangerous stunts. That's not the issue. It's not the issue with me. My girlfriend might have issues with me doing this, however, we're not going to tell her, so it'll be fine. I'll only tell her after I've gone and done it. Now, I probably shouldn't do that either, I might get in trouble. Let's skip on from that, I think. I have absolutely no problem in going to do these crazy things. It's the bigger issue. I've always said I'd absolutely love to do a video on rolling a car, or trying to roll a car in the same manner that I've done it in Forza for many years, but it's the difficulty in finding somewhere to do it, setting the whole thing up, getting a car, fitting all proper roll cage and all harness and everything, getting all of that, having the money, not just the actually physically finding the place, having all the money as well to do all of that is quite difficult. And if I'm going to do it and set it up and film and everything, I want it to be done properly. I'm not going to just grab a random car and find a field somewhere. No, I want to, if I'm going to make a video out of it, I want to do it, properly and everything. So, I have no issue with doing that. Maybe at some point in the future, if I suddenly become mega famous and, we can, I would absolutely love to. At this moment in time, it's not looking likely in the near future. You never know. One day, One day I would like to build a real life jelly car, or have someone else, because I don't have the mechanical skill to do it. Have someone else who knows how to build a jelly car and then drive it and roll it like the proper jelly cars. That would be fantastic fun. Make for an excellent video. However, yeah, not quite able to do that at this moment in time. However, I think I have rambled on for quite long enough in all of this. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A video. If people like this stuff, then I will maybe try and do them a bit more regularly than one every year-ish. Might not be a bad idea. We'll see. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and thank you for all of the questions. Until next time, though, goodbye.